Hello? Oh, hello. I'm live. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Gabriel. This is Learning English Path, and I'm going to drink a little water. So, this week, the English Speaking Club is beginning, and I am very excited. And today I'm going to teach you about good habits and bad habits and how to talk about them in English. I got thinking about this topic for several reasons. Firstly, because the new year is coming up, and usually people start thinking about their habits when it's time for the new year, right? Everyone wants to get rid of the bad habits and begin the new habits. And I've also been thinking about my habits recently, also about other people's good and bad habits, because as you know, I am also an identity coach, and so I help people. I coach them on who they are and on their lives. And sometimes my clients have bad habits in their lives, right? And they want to begin good habits. They want to start getting up earlier. They want to eat healthier. They want to meditate, right? They want to be nicer to their partners, their boyfriends or their girlfriends. And so this is something that I help people with a lot. So that's another reason. And also because this is one of the habits that we'll be talking about in the first week of the English Speaking Club. And I'm very excited about this English Speaking Club. So I wanted to share a little bit of this lesson with you. Of course, you would get a lot more actual practice in the club, but I'll give you a good lesson here. So I want you to take a minute to think about what are your good habits and what are your bad habits in your life right now. So for me, the good habits are that I do work every day for a few hours at least. I work on my two businesses, right? I also get up early. I also meditate. Uh, okay. And lately, I've been going for a run every day. So, right now, sometimes I eat really big meals, right? So sometimes I eat too much food. I want to stop that. And sometimes I drink too much coffee. So those are some habits that are not very good that I would like to get rid of. And how about you? I'm curious. I would like you to let me know in the chat or in the comments, what are some of your good habits and what are some of your bad habits? And how do we talk about habits in English? You might know already the most common way is simply to use the present tense, right? So this is a very simple thing for beginner English learners to learn, right? If you are a beginner English learner, you will often learn things like, I brush my teeth. And you might add a time expression on that as well. With brush my teeth. Okay, so I brush my teeth at 8 o'clock in the morning, or I go to bed at 10 o'clock at night. I wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Or maybe you can say, I usually wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Or on Saturday, I wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, right? So this is all still present tense, and you can add little time expressions along with it, right? So that's the easy part. But what you might not know is you can also talk about habits using the future use, right? We don't have a future tense, but we have a future use when we say, I will. So it's an interesting one because it's not something that we think about very often, but we can use it this way. So if we're in a conversation and you ask me, what do you usually do in the mornings? Maybe I'll say, I'll get up around 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll usually check my email. I'll go for a run. I'll have breakfast, right? I'll have a cup of coffee. And this is perfectly fine to say this, even though we're talking about a habit, a routine, right? We're talking about my morning routine, but I can still use the future use, the word will. And I can use it to talk about other people in the third person. So my friend, she'll get up at 8 o'clock, right? You can contract it, of course, right? So you don't have to say I will or she will. You can say I'll or she'll, and that's actually more common. All right. So you can use it, the future use, to talk about your habits, your good habits and your bad habits. It's they're both the same when it comes to the grammar. No distinctions there. So what are some good expressions that you can use to talk about your habits? I've already used some. Usually, right? I usually do this. I usually do that. Sometimes these are adverbs of frequency, right? These are like always, usually, often, sometimes, never. These are all adverbs of frequency. So you can definitely use all of these when you are talking about your habits. It's usually something that people want to know, right? How strong is this habit? Or is it a weak habit? So you could say also every day, or on Mondays, or on the weekend, right? What else could you say? What are some other good expressions? When you're talking about your good habits, you might simply say, one thing I do is blah, 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 right? Or, well, you could say that for your good or your bad habits. You could say, one of my good habits is blah, blah, blah. So you notice is. It's not are. It doesn't get pluralized just because it's a habit, right? So when it's a habit, it's just one. It's just one thing. Even if you do it every day, it's still just one. So it's one habit. So you always say is. You don't say are. And you don't add an S on the end to it either. Another thing that you have to make sure you don't do is you don't use the present continuous. Some people, some English learners, when they're just beginners and they're starting out, they'll make this mistake a lot, actually. They will say something like, I'm sleeping at 10 o'clock at night, right? And they think that because it's something that happens a lot, that it's kind of similar to something continuous, right? So they will say, I'm sleeping at 10 o'clock. But this is incorrect. When you're talking about a habit, remember it's always the present simple and not continuous. Or the future simple is also okay, of course, as I've just said. Another expression is I've gotten in the habit of, or into the habit of. So I've gotten into the good habit of going to bed early, or I've gotten into the bad habit of not brushing my teeth, right? It's not true. So notice that when I use that sentence, I can say ing as in going to bed, because it's a completely different sentence, right? It's not a beginner, it's not one of these beginner present simple sentences. It is more about something that has happened recently. So here, when I use this sentence, I have gotten into the habit. This is the present perfect tense. So there's a big difference there between talking about habits for the first time and someone, an English learner who is more advanced, who is actually using a present perfect sentence there. So if you're more of an advanced learner and you want to extend your understanding of talking about these habits, you might want to say that something, a habit that you have recently developed. So I've recently started doing something, right? In that case, you would use the ing. I've recently started reading the news every day. I've recently stopped eating desserts, right? So in that case, you would use the ing because you're talking about a habit that you've recently started, and you're specifically using the present perfect tense there. All right. So just a nice quick little lesson here about good habits and bad habits. I hope that you've learned some good grammar here and a couple of expressions. And I wanted to shoot you a live video because I know there have been a few more kind of promotional videos in the last couple of weeks, but I've been so busy that I haven't had a chance to really give you like just a typical English lesson here on YouTube. So wanted to give you that. And again, if you do want to join the English Speaking Club, then go to the link in the description. It is a fantastic deal at the moment, and you're literally paying to speak with me and the group every day by voice chat, and it's less than $1 a day. So would love to see you there. Would love to meet you and speak with you in person, or at least by voice. I would love to speak with you soon. All right. Have a great day or night whenever you are, and keep learning, my friend, and keep going.